Yo, 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 what is going on, everybody? It's your boy, Coach Vic. Glad to be here with you. So, check it out. Unfortunately, I had to postpone today's live stream till today from a few days ago. Um, all good reasons. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because before I even get into the topic at hand, which is you can invest 5,000 or the best way to invest 5,000 or basically anything between $100 to $5,000, in my opinion, anyways, because I do this full time, and because of that, I can plan my own schedule. I don't know if you guys seen the movie yesterday. My wife and I decided to implement that, basically letting our kids do whatever they want for a day. We had to say yes to everything. My son is 7, my daughter is 3. So the thing they asked for is pretty simple. They wanted some ice cream, they wanted some pizza, they wanted to go to the park. Um, my son wanted me to clean his room, and that was pretty much the whole day. But they were enjoying the day, so I had to. I couldn't get back in time, so I just said, forget it. I'll just do it today. Anyways, I'm going to jump into it. Before I do, just let me know if you can hear me and see me okay. Let me check the comments real quick. I know it's delayed on your end. Um, okay, sounds good. Hey, what's up, Angelina? It's good to see you. Got some people watching. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. All right, sounds like you guys can see and hear me. All right, so let's go back into it. So let me set something up for you. All right, Rich Uncle Moneybags. Right, is your rich, wealthy uncle, Uncle Rich, whatever, however you want to describe him. He he's like, hey, I got some money, some extra money, and this money is burning a hole in my pocket. It was not accounted for. It's little windfall, and if I don't do something with it, the IRS may tax me. Or even if they don't, I just don't want my money sitting around. I am wealthy after all, so I want my money to grow. So they're like, well, how can I help my young niece or nephew, you, to help you or help me, or however you want to put it, get a little extra cash? But Rich Uncle Moneybags isn't sure what to do with, like, should I trust my niece or my nephew with this money or not? He comes to me like, hey, I got you. And so what I'm going to do is let you know that your uncle is ready to invest in you. And his question is, well, what are they going to do with the money? So me, as your advisor, I'm going to help you understand your options, because some of the options I present are pretty good. I do some of these things, and some are, in my opinion, not so great, or at least not for me. They're great for other people, but they're not for me, and I'll explain why. All right, so let's look. The things I know off the top of my head is all the different investment vehicles. We have stocks, we have bonds, we have cryptocurrency, or some people call it digital currency. We have forex or foreign exchange. Collectibles, that's the thing I have some friends doing now. You can own a business or start a business, and you have real estate. So those are 7 vehicles that I personally know of that people do make money off of. And I'm sure there's others. If you know of any others I didn't mention, go ahead and mention them in the comments so I can educate myself a little further. But stocks, bonds, crypto, forex, collectibles, owning a business, and real estate. Which one should you choose? You already know which one I'm choosing. All right. Now, go ahead and put your preference in the comments. I'm gonna check them real quick to see if you guys are okay. Okay. Cool. 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 Yeah, and even those, if you're watching this live, you're watching the replay, the reactions are always going to be mixed because we have different experiences with different things, and sometimes those experiences may color our perception of them, right or wrong. But let's go through some of them. All right. First, before we do that, let me let you know all these vehicles work. No matter which one I picked out of that 7, I know somebody's made money with them or a lot of money with them. I know people who started small and went big. I know people who were able to go big at the same time and go, knock it out of the park. And I know people who've lost money in all these things. All right. So, but let me ask you this. For me personally, I look at the investments of what has intrinsic value versus extrinsic value. And what that means is intrinsic value is something that is said to have value that in and of itself, meaning whatever it is valuable because it is what it is. So, give an example. If you are in the wild and you have a knife, that knife is valuable for what it can do for you, right? Just hit being a knife. It's not, it doesn't matter if it's made of fancy metals or it's, made by an expert artisan or not like that. It's like, hey, it's a knife. It can help me cut branches, kill my food, etc. It's valuable, right? And there's other things that are not intrinsically valuable. We basically put a value on them. We feel that they're valuable because we like them or whatever, but there's nothing about these things that make them valuable. So we have intrinsic versus extrinsic. Now, in that list I mentioned, what things have intrinsic value? Well, in my opinion, real estate, obviously, owning a business, and stocks and bonds, right? So crypto, forex, and collectibles, they have extrinsic value, in my opinion, meaning because some people want these things and they're sought out, they have a value to them, but it's not like that baseball card or your file with with cryptocurrency is necessarily valuable in and of itself. So personally, I like to go to things that are more intrinsically valuable. Some people like invest in gold for that very reason. I like real estate personally. Personally. Now, I'm going to read you some quotes from some notable figures. Here we go. First one. The major fortunes of America have been made in land. That's John D. Rockefeller. Maybe you've heard of him. Next quote. 90% of all millionaires become so through owning real estate. That's Andrew Carnegie, another old school person you may have heard of. Next quote. He is not full of man who does not own a piece of land. That's a Hebrew proverb. I don't know who said that. Next one. Everyone wants a piece of land. It's the only sure investment. It can never duplicate like a car, or excuse me, it can never depreciate like a car or a washing machine. Land will only double in its value in 10 years. That's Sam Shepard. Finally, Louis Glickman, the best investment on earth is earth, meaning real estate. Okay. So can we agree that real estate is the best way to go? Now, if you're in this group, you probably agree. Now, I'm not saying these other vehicles aren't worthy. I'm not saying don't do them. I'm not saying you can't make money from them. But for the most part, real estate is where it's at. No matter what, you're always going to need a place to go. You're always going to need a place to do something on. And the way our system works is you can quote unquote own that part. So if you can't own that part, you have a lot more control. If you don't, then you're at the mercy of those who do own. And that is how those fortunes are to be made. So you may be wondering now, okay, real estate seems to be the best way to go. I got $5,000 riding on the line. What should I do? Well, obviously, I'm going to say invest in some land. Now, here's the thing. Why land? Well, in my opinion, it's a good gateway drug to real estate and entrepreneurship in general. Why do I say that? Well, it's very easy to get started. It doesn't take much. In fact, some people are so surprised how quickly somebody will sell a vacant parcel of land, especially if you follow the escape velocity system that I'll lay out. Meaning you're finding those folks who own property who no longer want them. You're basically finding inefficiencies in the housing or the real estate market. People who have the land, they don't want it, can't afford it, whatever it is, and they don't know what to do. So that's where we come in. And the beautiful thing is, there's always people like this. Why is that? People always move. There's always divorce. People's minds change. People's plans change. Just there's so many things out of our control that unless you are super motivated and dedicated to that idea that's tied to that real estate, the good chance that you won't care about it anymore. Why? Because especially with raw land, it's very easy to buy and it's very easy to let go of because it's not like a house where you have a mortgage and you have all this debt and responsibility. It's like, hey, I bought this land in cash. I was going to do this with it. That plan didn't work out or it's harder than expected. It's very easy, like, I forget it. I don't really care that much. I already, own property and I can just take it or leave it. That is why this always happens. Also with land, guess what? I don't need a real estate license. I don't need a broker's license. I don't need anything. That's like saying you need a license to buy a car. You may need a license to drive a car on public roads, but you don't need a license to buy a car. All you need is the cash. And a lot of times, when you're buying a used car, that cash is negotiable. All right. Next, all the real estate, or excuse me, all the investment vehicles I've spoke about, usually they're talking about year over year investment return. My investments come back to me in a couple of weeks, a couple of months at the most when I'm not necessarily following my system or that aggressive trying to sell it. But even at the long term, couple of months, I'm still, doubling or tripling my money, even if it's a small amount of money. You know, starting out with $500 may not seem like a lot to you, but if you start with 500 and you end up with 1,500, you tripled your money. That's $1,500 you wouldn't have done elsewhere. And it's not like I got to swing a hot hammer in the sun building a house or something like that. I'm just shuffling papers around. I say, okay, you own it. Now I own it. Okay, now you own it. And I collect in between. That's it. That's it. It's so easy. Also, the skills that you gain in land will definitely apply to other forms of real estate. Not only are you understanding how the game works at a simpler level with a lot less headaches, a lot less things to go wrong, because there's no buildings to inspect, there's no tenants to kick out, there's nothing like that. It's just dirt. It's just future possibilities and potential that other people can't see. But you're learning how to do proper research. You're learning how to, talk to the county. You're learning how the building codes and all that work, even though there's nothing to build on. You're just relaying that information to people you're going to sell the property to. It's so simple and so easy. And like you can easily see, okay, well, if I did have a house, how would that work? If I were to build on this or find a lot with a house on it, how would that work? And you realize that a lot of the things like title insurance and real estate agents and all these other things, they're unnecessary. Sure, they can make the process easier. They can find things for you. They have resources that you may not have. But then you start to realize in this business, you too, as a regular person, have access to the most important thing, and that's the public record. These other tools that the real estate agents and then title companies have, they just make those tools a little more accessible, a little easier, but then you pay them for the privilege of them doing the work that you can do. So you'll learn that and you can do a lot of things for yourself, or you may realize, hey, I don't want to do this work myself, but I know how it works. So now if you are hiring a real estate agent or a title company or whatever, you know exactly what they need to do, and you can tell if they're getting the job done properly. And this is all very simple. These are simple things that we can learn and we're going to learn together. It's real easy. So now you can see why land is so important, because look, I'm talking small amounts. I don't know about you, but I have $300 to invest in property. I have $700 to invest in property. Some of you may have spent that in the last 2 weeks on some J's, going to the, well, not going to the club in a pandemic, but in the before times, on some nice shoes, a nice outfit, going out to a party, to a wedding, just going out to the club, whatever it is. You spent 700, you spent a rack, not a problem. We just don't see it that way. But if you're like, hold on, let me not do something frivolous for a little while. Let me take that money that I would have saved or spent out enjoying myself. Let me invest that in some property right away and make it grow right away. Then things change for you. At least it changed for me. So with that said, let's go into some of those vehicles I talked about. And I'm going to go through the averages of what the return of investments are. So with stocks, the average return is roughly 10% a year. That's the average of the market. Most people can't beat the market. You have things like ETFs and things of that nature, and you can get higher returns from time to time, but it's in the market. It's not like you can sell your stock and pay those capital gains taxes or whatever, but you don't know when the best time to sell, right? And I don't know about you, but when I sell a stock and I see the thing keep going up, I'm like, damn, maybe I should have held on a little bit longer. Or if I buy a stock and it starts to go down right away, I'm like, damn, maybe I bought at the wrong time. With land, I don't have that problem because I control it. I control when I buy and I control when I sell, meaning if I'm only going to buy for this amount of money in this area, I'm going to do that. And if it's not going to work, it's fine. It just doesn't work. When I sell, that's the same thing. I can just hold on to the property until I find a buyer that's going to be willing to pay my price. Now, I'm not really greedy, so it's easier for me to find a buyer than some other people who are trying to hold top dollar. But in general, if I have $5,000 and I invested it at 10% a year, I get a $500 return. Oh, nothing. That's nothing. That's just the averages. Sure, you can go make more, you can make less, but an average is 10%. $500 is 10% of that 5,000 I could have into the market. It's good if you don't have anything else and you don't want to pay attention to it. But for me, if I spend 5,000, I want to do more than just 10%. Now we have bonds. Looking that up, they're saying you have 1 year and 3 year returns. So municipal bonds, basically from government entities, either 6% for the year or 2.59% in 3 years. It's a safer bet than the stock because it's always going to go up, but whatever. U.S. Treasury bonds, 5 to 10 years is 6.18% or 0.94% in 3 years, or I guess 5 to 10 years. And the Russell Growth 2000 Growth Index, 6.91% or 15.64% in 3 years. The S&P 500, 13.49% or 14.87%. So that's 1 year versus 3 years. Not a lot of return. Not a lot of return. I'm not going to do the math on that, but it's less than $500 from that 5,000. Let's look at cryptocurrency. Now, looking this up, you'll have some fanatics and you have some people who hate it. But I've heard people say they've gotten from 100% per year of their ROI up to 700% per year. It's a lot. That's a lot. I'll tell you that right now. It's for me personally. I don't understand it. I haven't studied it. I know a lot of people have understand. They do understand. They study it, so they can give you more information on that. But to me, it just seems too volatile. too much up and down. People get crazy, go crazy with it, and they don't. And like, I don't like having so many other people in control of whether the asset goes up or down. In my personal opinion, other people they like that, and that's cool. I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying it's not for me. Forex, which is foreign exchange. So you're basically thinking of countries as stock, their currency as stock. So the American dollar versus the Australian dollar versus the British pound versus the euro versus the Mexican peso and on and on and on. Now, some people claim once they understand it, 1 to 10% return per month. Pretty good, pretty good. However, it's a long learning curve, and most people say it takes them about a year or two just to understand it before they can start making any money. Like if they make any money before that, it's on accident. So something happened in their favor, but they don't know why, and they couldn't replicate it because they don't understand it yet. So it takes about a year or two. So that's a long learning curve. It takes a long time to make some money in there. So it's very easy to lose your shirt. If you don't know what you're doing, it's hard to stay in the game and understand that, right? So we're still talking about $500 or less of a $5,000 investment. Collectibles, I mean, baseball cards and autographs and things like that. You're hitting big right now. Even digital art. I don't know. Couldn't say what the return is, right? It's tough for me to say. Owning a business, I guess the return on that it varies on the business, depending on your skills as a business person, right? You need a good business mind, but you need that no matter what investment vehicle you're using. And in real estate, without land, can you really invest 5,000 in anything besides land investing? I don't know. If you know something that you can invest in real estate and you own and for less than 5,000 without being like a tiny minority partner where you don't make any decisions, let me know. I'll be interested to find out. I'm trying to learn too. But as you can see, land has a lot going for it. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm going to do with that $5,000 because I have $5,000 burning a hole in my pocket. And I already started to look at, so I'm actually going to share my screen. And when I do, you'll see Zillow and a couple of places I've been looking up. All right. Second. Sure. Okay, hopefully you guys can see my screen. All right. But right now I'm looking at a place, an area in Northern California. You see, so San Francisco's down here, Sacramento. This is in Mendocino County, Northern California. And I went deeper into the county and went straight to Willits. It's a town in the county. Now, if you can see here on Zillow, there's 41 different real estate agents selling property in that area. And the cheapest price that you can see is $5,000. These are some tiny lots. No, they're not tiny, but they're like, this one is about 0.16 acres. This is almost a quarter of an acre, not like maybe 0.20, right? Small lots. But I see that if this is the bottom price, this is like a good area for me to invest in. Now, am I going to buy this lot for $5,000? Hell no. That's not an investment. I'm paying, that's a retail price. This is what I'm hoping to sell a lot for if I buy something on the low end. But as you can see, as you scroll down, I'm starting to see bigger things here. So these lots here for 9,500, 10,000, 13,000. These interest me. These interest me. So with my information, I know I can get these properties roughly for a third of the price. So if we go back, if we go back and we look at the top, if I were to invest my 5,000, I would not pay 5,000 for this lot. What I would do is find other owners in this area who own similar lots. And instead of paying them 5,000, I'll probably pay them $1,500 for these lots. And that's probably what these guys, maybe what they did, maybe what they didn't, but I'll pay $1,500 for these lots. Most people I ask will say no, but some will say yeah. I only need one to turn that 1,500 into 5,000 like these. Now, here's the beautiful thing about this. I want you to write this down. I can do this repeatedly on my own time. I don't have to watch the markets. I don't have to be up all night on a cryptocurrency exchange. I don't have to worry about tenants calling me in the middle of the night saying the toilet's broken. I don't got to worry about anything else like that. I am just, when I'm ready to, on my own time, casually doing like this, looking for places that fulfill my current criteria, contacting the people who own property there who are not selling their property, and buying them for pennies on the dollar. Now, maybe you don't want to invest 5,000, but we're gonna go with 5,000 for now because that's it's a decent chunk of change. Most people couldn't just throw that into the market for most people, but some people can. Now, in the beginning, I couldn't do $5,000. I had to build that up. I was able to start with $200 or actually $375. Built that up, so now I can easily invest in a couple of $5,000 properties if I wanted to. But the beautiful thing is, I don't have to just throw it all into one property, have my money tied up in one place. I can buy a couple of these that will be sold for 5,000, but I buy for 1,500 or so, 1,000, 1,500, depending on the situation. Or I can get something like this and pay about 2,500, 3,000, sell for 10,000. Now, how do I know these will sell for that price? Just because they're being listed? Well, I take a quick look on Zillow. And here, this property has only been on the market for 37 days, but then 138 people, 138 views. 2 people saved it. Pretty good. That means a lot of eyeballs are watching these properties. They're looking for something. Maybe they're, trying to check them out and see them in person or whatnot, but we'll see. Here's another one, 10,000. It's only been on the market for 18 hours. It hasn't been on the market for a full day yet, and it's already got 53 views. And look at this. This person doesn't know how to take a screenshot. All they did was take a photo of their screen and posted it. Did they do it again on this picture? Looks like they did it again twice. 53 review, one save, less than 8 hours or less than 24 hours, and it's going for $10,000. Notice all these trees and all that on the lot. Notice that. These aren't anything fancy. This is nothing hard that you can't do. But if I do buy one of these lots, again, I would pay about $2,000 to $3,000 on that. So that means I have $2,000 to spare. Now, maybe I take that other $2,000. I need to help myself find those folks who are willing to sell to me at that price. So I can text them, I can mail them, I can, do all types of different things to actually get their attention, start a conversation, and then make sure the property's on the up and up, and then spend that $2,000, $3,000 and buy. And then I definitely would list it for this amount. So now, if I do, let's say I do spend all $5,000 just for a property that I sell for $10,000, that's 100% return. I doubled my money. And the beautiful thing is, guess how long it takes to double the money? Does it take a year? Does it take 6 months? How does 3 weeks sound to you? Put that in the comments. If something like that will sound like appealing to you. Taking your money and then 3 weeks later, doubling it. Not in the market, not a theoretical, but literally cash in hand. Fanning in your face, making it rain at the club. That type of double your money. There's something like that when you think that will work for you. The beautiful thing is, no matter what you buy, right? No matter how bad you think it is, somebody is going to buy it. But let's just say in worst case scenario, everybody on the face of the earth dies. I mean, I hope that doesn't happen, or maybe not everybody, but everybody in the area dies and people are like, oh my God, this is so bad now because, all the people who wanted that property died of heart attacks or something. You just got this property. Guess what? You still have property. You still have land. You still have a place that you can go if worst goes to worst. You got a place that you can go if everything hits the fan. If the economy goes to the shitter, what happens to your stock? If the government's outlaw cryptocurrency, what happens to your crypto wallet? If you have squatters or people with malintent renting your place, what happens to your rental property? I don't know many other investments that are so guaranteed and so safe and it can be done for so little money that people, I just don't understand. Like, it's hard for me to understand why people do other investments before doing this. Now, after you make a little money doing this, and then you start buying some stocks and bonds and things like that, that makes sense to me. You want to diversify. But when you're just starting out, you have a little extra income, or you got some student loans that you need to pay, and you're like, well, I can keep making these minimum payments, or I can just figure out a way to save a little bit, sacrifice for a month or two to have enough to buy a property, flip that money, double it, And then now I don't have to do that sacrifice anymore because now I have that seed money to continue to feed the business. I don't understand any other way, to be honest. It's hard for me to want to do anything else. In fact, the only issue I have with land, and I'm going to stop sharing my screen. The only issue I have with land that is so easy to do, it's easy not to do. That's the problem. It's like it's easy for me to contact some folks or find out, different areas to invest in. So it makes it so easy to put off. But I got ways around that too. But with that $5,000, I'm buying a property in Mendocino County. I'm telling you that not because of theoretical, that's literally what I'm going to do. And I'll let you know the outcome when I finally get one. I got to send that mailing out soon. And when I do get that property, I might spend a couple grand because I'm looking for a bigger payday. Spend 3,000, 2,000, 4,000, whatever. I'm gonna sell it for $10,000, $12,000. One sale is all I need, and I'm covered for the whole month. I ain't gotta do shit else for the rest of the month. Obviously, that's not, I'm not gonna just do that. But I'm just saying, if something were to happen to me, just need to do one sale. If I can't do one property at that price, maybe I'll buy a couple smaller ones at smaller prices. But then at the end of the day, I'm still doubling or tripling my money. The money just goes out there and fractures and grows and grows. So if I have $5,000, that's exactly what I'm going to do with it. Now, with that said, do you have any questions? Okay, questions here. How hard or easy to scale to 7 figures a year? Well, I do know a couple guys that are doing it 7 figures a year. The only thing that makes it easier or harder is how many systems you have in place. So you can just do this more often and then not necessarily use all your time. So I do everything myself because I'm a greedy bastard and I'm getting everything systematized personally. But once you do have those systems and you can teach somebody else to do a portion of it or hire out, then it's only a matter of how much capital you have access to, whether it's your own, whether you're getting, investment partners, whatever it is. So I know a couple guys doing 7 figures a year because I just did a small number of 5,000, but let's think bigger. You can easily get a vacant land lot for, let's just say 15,000 and sell it for 30, sell it for 45. You do a couple of those a year, right? Not even a year. You do, well, let's say you do one of those a month. Well, you need about 80 grand deals per month to get you $1 million. Now, most people don't do just one large deal to make that money. They have a lot of inventory coming in and out. People have certain ways they like to either have customers buy on installment plans versus buying in, just one large cash sale. So it just depends on what they like and what works for them and all that. But the business model doesn't get complicated when you scale because it's the same thing. What gets complicated is, do you have systems? Do you have procedures in place? Do you have help? And that's the same with any business. I dare you to find any business that when you're scaling, you're not going to need more precise procedures, more qualified people, things like that. So hopefully that answers that question. Let me see. Is there any other questions? Okay, no, good, good. All right, y'all. That's going to be it. Sorry I had to postpone this one. I had a whole thing planned out, but I have a bunch of stuff going on. So with that said, I hope you found this valuable. If you do, share this information with people out there. Let them know how great land is, and then invite them to the group. Let them make a decision for themselves. And if they do like this, or you want to learn more about investing, you want to join my mastermind, my investment group that I have. I'm helping people do stuff like this every day as I do it myself, giving people the ins and outs, the little nuances, helping them with their customized plan for their business. And you want something like that for you so you can invest with confidence, let me know. Reach out to me. Send me a PM. Say pay Derek in the comments, my favorite phrase. But if not, stick around the group. You'll learn some stuff a slow way. You can figure out things that way. But other than that, man, I'm glad that you guys were here. I appreciate your time. I hope you guys enjoy your weekend. But this is Coach Vic signing out. I will see you guys later. Peace.